It's time for us to go to Horsham District and Big Peter Weir. He's been out of the footy game with this knee injury, and he joins us now. We're going to find out a little bit about how things are going right now at Japarra Rainbow and the Storm. Weary, how are you?
Yeah, going pretty well, thanks, Wayne. Winter's definitely hit the area over the last few days, and it's been quite a chilly week, and it looks like the forecast isn't much better for the weekend's footy.
No. Well, and you might be actually picked the right week because health and safety protocols have come to the region, and you've been one that is involved with that. And at the same time, it gives you 2 weeks, as I look at it, Weary, to have a bit of a rest from a selfish point of view here. This week, obviously, with health and safety protocols, you won't be able to be part of it. But with that knee injury and next week's June long weekend, you could come back fitter, faster and raring to go after the long weekend.
Oh, I hope you're right, Flowman. I'm not sure about all that. But, the knee probably would have been right to go this weekend. But just unfortunately now, with the COVID getting around the area, I've succumbed to that. So it's going to have to be another weekend off. And, like you touched on, a couple more weeks without footy for myself.
And let's have a look to some of the things that have happened around the club. Now, I noticed that St Kilda has a player called Ben Long, and he was up at your club. Now, what's the connection with the Japarra Rainbow and Ben coming up to train with the young kids?
Yeah, great get for the Japarra Rainbow boys. Ben's a cousin to Thomas Long, who's been a player now with us for a couple of years, and also a brother to Jacob Long, who played in that first match, if you can remember, against Rapanyup. So it's great excitement for junior kids to have AFL players around the community, and I know he went out and helped out with training on Tuesday night. It would have been a great buzz, just not only for the junior players but the senior players to see Ben there, and I'm sure he's got a fan for life now with a couple of Japarra Rainbow Storm juniors looking up to him.
No, I reckon so. Hey, and also you had a big event and for MND. How much did you raise in the end?
Yeah, it was a great result there, Flowman. It was over $5,000 raised by Japarra Rainbow Footy Club on the back of that fundraiser they had last Saturday after the game against Pimp and IO. So, great for the community to support that cause, as they do with a lot of different causes in the region.
Yeah, do a great job. It's a fantastic giving community, and it's a good season this year too already with the start, so everyone pretty happy. Okay, it's a good season with Harrow Balmoral because they won 13-8-86 to beat the Swifts 11-9-75 at North Park. It was the Swifts just struggling right now and losing by not big margins to other good sides.
Yeah, they had their moments in that game. They got some really good running brigade in Zachy Armour and Ryan Folks and Jacob Salmi, and that complements their old veteran Scotty Carey. So they had their moments against the Harrow midfield, but Harrow were too good at the end of the day.
They were. Now, this was an interesting result. Narragansett Quanton got nailed by Kalkee 13-11 to 13-6 in an absolute beauty. The Keys know how to win the close ones.
They do. They just keep getting it done. That'll be their third or fourth result that's gone down to the wire, Flowman, and that's going to give them great confidence. As we know, the Kalkee team, they always finish games off well, and if they're within a sniff at three-quarter time, they're always a chance of winning the game, and that happened again on the weekend, and I see Simon Hobbs has returned pretty well from a concussion injury with the best on ground.
He did. Nadimak 14-17-101, Taylor's Lake 15-8-98 in an absolute close one at the Dock Lake. The Taylor's Lake has almost got their first win, but Nadimak have responded and found a way.
Yeah, the Taylor's Lake boys will be pretty flat on that. They're so close, as we've touched on. They're not going to have a huge amount of chances to win games this season, and they're right in this one, right up to the final siren. And Lee Marshall, their coach, kicked 7 goals, so he did absolutely everything he could to drag his team over the line, but Natty Muck were in front when the siren went.
And Edenab absolutely were in front when the siren went against Laharam 19-15-129 to 10-4-64. It was a big win by the Saints.
Yeah, and Matty Butler returned to his goal-kicking form, Flowman, with 10 goals there, and they were just too strong across the board for Laharam, who never gave it in all day, but Edenab were too good.
And if Matty Butler keeps this going, he could get to 100. He's on 46, and we're not at the halfway, so he is going great guns with, 30 goals from 2 matches in real good form, and he had a week off in between, which says just how good that effort is. Let's have a look at the final matches, though. Rapanyup got the 200 done. 30 goals, 20, exactly 200. Canova Lior, 3-6-24. I saw that And up at the Cougars' home deck, I couldn't believe the margin. How good did the Panthers play?
Yeah, very disappointing from the Canova team. We thought maybe last week that they'd have their moments against Rapaniup in this game, but that was all over by half-time where they went in at 100 points down. So very disappointing effort from the Canova team. But yeah, I think Lockie Wiedemann, who's a good young up-and-coming player from Rapaniup, would have thought senior footy's pretty easy and got best on ground in his team's big win.
He did. Musgrove with 7. He's having a good season too, kicking 32 goals at the moment. So that's a good effort from him in that game. Okay, let's get to the Jeparat Rainbow Storm report. And 15-16, 106 to Pimpernio, 4-1-25. You said to your good mate Clint Burdett, you're not going to come over here to Rainbow and steal a win.
No, Clint started the game really well, as did the Pimpernio team. They were actually dominant through the midfield with their hard running. And there's just a lack of ability to finish that off up forward, let the Jeparat Rainbow boys stay in the game and work their way into the contest. And Clancy Breen with his hard running obviously really matched the Pimpernio team and was a standout for us. And Brad Hunter, it was great to see him return from a bit of a dodgy ankle and had a great contribution through the middle of the ground and snuck forward. And I think he missed a few of his opportunities at goal, but that'll come after he gets back into a bit of match fitness, Flowman.
He will. You missed saying one player, though, Jay Kerwood. He booted 6 goals in your absence, and I'll tell you what, he's giving you a run for your money there, Weary. You're going to have to come back in 3 weeks' time and reclaim your spot in the side.
Yeah, I did notice that, Flo, man. I was to have a look at the goal-kicking column after I didn't get to the match, but Jay's a star, and no doubt he'll kick another 6 this weekend.
Well said. All right, let's have a look at the netball, and the girls fighting for a place in the top 6.
Yeah, they are. They're having a great season, but it's quite hotly contested, the A-grade netball ladder, and they had a great win against Pimpernel. I think in other grades they had a tougher day on the court, but another big one against Natty Muck this weekend, who I think have dropped back a little bit, but they've still got some really good experienced netballers in that team who will try and stop the run of the up-and-coming Jeparat Rainbow side. Okay, let's have a look then at the reserve grade and also the 17s and 14s for your club, and it was a very good performance in the end to come into it and put in a real hard yards game for your lads against Pimpernel. It was one that in the end they got the win, 28-9-4. Yeah, I think the reserves boys put in a much better performance this weekend, and credit goes to Geordie Leach, man. He's played a lot of senior footy this year, and he's still coaching the reserves grade, so he's doing a great job to get there and coach his team and then put in some good performances in the senior footy in the afternoon. Yeah, he does a good job. Kynan Clark booted 3, and Hayden Jamison was amongst it in the good players there in that match. The 17-year-olds, and they came out and had a real dip, and they're having a real dip all year. It's been great to see. They didn't get the points in the end. 11-6-72 Pimpernel. No score to your lads, but in the end, they just haven't got the talent to match a very, very, very classy Pimpernel 17s. Yeah, the Pimpernel boys are quite strong in the under 17s, and I think just lacking a few numbers more so than the talent flow, man. There's some really good talented juniors there, but I know they did have to steal a couple of the Pimpernel under 17 boys, and also a few of our under 14 boys went up and did a great job in helping out. But yeah, Jamie Ekman continues to play well across half-back, and Cooper Stasnowski gave him great support on the weekend. Yeah, good stuff from both of those lads. And in the 14-year-olds, and these lads have been the surprise story right throughout the year, and it's been great to see. But Pimpernel have got good juniors, and it's 8-7-55 to beat your boys 2-1-13. Yeah, I think they kicked away late in that game with 3 or 4 goals, which makes the scoreboard look not quite as even as the contest was, Flowman. But yeah, it's great to see Bronte Efford, who might be inspired by his older brother, pushing into the senior ranks, get best on ground in the under 14s. And young Will Fisher and Ryan Gould got goals, and it was good to see Fletcher Keller and Parker Gould, William Fisher and Sanders Eckerman and Ryder Gould amongst the other better players. Let's get to this week's matches, and I know that you're out of the game, but this is going to be a very important game of football played for your club. You end up with an away trip, and we're going to take a look at the 4 grades for you guys. Jeparat Rainbow go down to Natty Muck. I think
you can beat them at the showgrounds, but you don't want to drop a game at this moment because those positions in that top six are going to be well fought over by 7 clubs.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, Flowman. I looked at that myself in the ladder. There is probably only 6 teams that can, well, there is only 6 teams that can make it, and there's 7 really good sides in the league this year. So these games are so important. And Natty Muck's an inconsistent team, but that makes them a really dangerous opposition. And I think looking at the forecast, the wind will favour one end of the ground quite heavily down there. So I'm expecting big games from key position players, particularly Simon Clugston across half-back. It's really important to take those steadying marks in those types of conditions, and also for the coach Daniel Batson. I think as a ruckman playing a kick behind the play on those windy days, just a steadying marks and a good option down the line. So expect for those two to have a big impact in the result of the game.
And what about the reserves? Because you're 9th on the ladder and they're 11th. A must-win really if you're to maintain any hope of finals footy at the reserve grade level.
Yeah, the team looks much stronger this weekend, Flowman, and I expect Natty Muck are traditionally really strong in the reserves, but it shows they probably lack a little bit of depth as a club this year as well. So I expect a close game, but I reckon our reserves can bounce back and have a win.
Okay, going to be a tough outing for the boys in the 17s, but at 9th place they take on 6th place Natty Muck. But I think Natty Muck, and I reckon the top 6 is probably decided almost in that 17-year-old age group.
Yeah, I think Natty Muck will be too strong in this game, and watch for Marty Macon, who's a good young player coming through the ranks. I reckon he'll have a good game in these conditions for the Depart Rainbow under 17s. All
right, the final one is the 14s, and this is where the Natty Muck boys are going to come out to play early in the morning. It's pretty cold down that way, and with the weather that we've been having, it's probably going to remain hard, cold weather for the kids to start the day. Natty Muck are in 11th place and struggling. Your boys are in 7th place. A win here keeps them with a chance of taking that 6th place off of Rapagna. That is the key. It looks like Swifts and you and Rapagna are going to fight over the 6th place. Can the boys win this weekend?
Well, I think they can, and I think if results do fall their way, they could even go into the final 6 as early as this weekend, Flowman. So there's a big carrot there for the boys, but they've got to get the job done first and have a win at Natty Muck on Saturday morning.
They do, and they've had AFL coaching this week. There is no excuses now. They've had Ben Long come along to show them how it's done. So we're going to look forward to seeing if the kids can get a win on the board. It's they're going to be great. Now let's have a look at the other senior matches and just get your tips across the weekend. Rapagna play Narrajua Quantong at the Panther Park.
Yeah, it's hard to get a form line on Quantong, and I think this game will show us a little bit more, but you've got to pick Rapagna at home on their current form and confidence.
Swifts in trouble if they lose to the Keys. It gives that 7 teams trying to get 6 places, puts them in a bit of a bother, but I think at the Cow Key, the consistency that they've got at the moment, I think the Keys will win it.
Yeah, it's going to be another close game, and as we know, Kalkee seem to win these close games, but like you touched on, it's a must-win game for Stawell, and I think that'll give them enough incentive to get over the line and have a bit of an upset.
Another home game at the Dock Lake for Taylors Lake, and Laharam are beatable for them after last week's confidence. They nearly got there, but I think maybe the red and blue.
Yeah, I think chance of redemption here for Taylors Lake with another very winnable game, but I think the key position players of Laharam in Shannon Argle and Brady Irvin will be the difference in the game and help Laharam to a win.
And Pimpernio take on Caniva, 2 of the lower clubs in the league. And you saw Pimpernio last week. Caniva was shocking against the very, very powerful Panthers. I just think the Tigers might get the Panthers here.
Yeah, I agree. They'll know how to play that home game well. And I don't think it'll be a traditional style game of football with the blustery conditions. And I think the Pimpernio small fellas can run the ball through the bigger Caniva team and find more goals at the other end than Caniva do and have somewhat of an upset victory over to the Cougars.
Yeah, that's exactly how I see it. Yeah, correction. It's the Cougars of Caniva, and they will certainly struggle, I think, against the Pimpernio boys. Edenhope Apsley take on Harrow Balmoral. One of the matches of the round. Down south it is too. It is the 2 type of neighbourly sides here. The Southerners in effect, and I reckon that Harrow Balmoral can beat Edenhope Apsley, even though it's at the home deck. And whether or not the big forward, he can kick a big bag of goals for Edenhope Apsley.
Yeah, I think Matty Butler will play well. He's a great mark, and he's hard to match up on, and he can kick goals from a long range, as we've found out with 30 in the last couple of weeks. But I'm not sure whether that'll be enough. Edenhope Apsley, as we predicted, have improved as the season gone on, and it's a great little mid-season tester now against the benchmark of the competition. But I still expect Harrow to be too good. But yeah, look for a lot of interest across the league to go to this game and the result in it.
Oh yes, it is, and a very big weekend And Weary, you take care. Just to rest yourself up, get that kicking boot just practiced and so forth, ready for your return in 3 weeks. And I look forward to catching up with you soon.
No worries. Thanks, Wayne.